There are football debates. There are serious football debates. And then there are debates so dangerous that they can turn an entire continent into football lawyers overnight. Today we're discussing one of them. Is Morocco Africa's greatest football team ever? Not the most loved, not the most famous, not the team with the loudest fans. The greatest, the team that can walk into African football history and say, "Move aside, we're sitting at the head of the table." Now immediately I know Egyptian fans are already typing. Cameroon fans are warming up. Nigerian fans have opened 17 tabs containing statistics. And Ghanaian fans are preparing a 45-minute documentary. But relax, today we're looking at facts. Cold facts. The type of facts that don't care about your favorite team. Let's start with the obvious. The 2022 World Cup. The tournament that transformed Morocco from a respected football nation into football's main character. Before that tournament, every African nation had tried to reach the World Cup semifinals. Cameroon tried, Nigeria tried, Ghana came painfully close, Senegal tried, everybody tried. The semifinal looked like that one level in a video game nobody could unlock. Then Morocco arrived, and unlocked it. What's crazy isn't that they reached the semifinal, it's how they did it. They didn't sneak through, they didn't get lucky, they didn't receive a special FIFA coupon. They earned it. First they topped a group containing Belgium and Croatia. Belgium at the time had enough superstar players to start 3 different national teams. Yet somehow Morocco looked more organized. Belgium arrived with luxury car talent. Morocco arrived with military discipline. Guess which one survived? Then came Spain, the country that treats passing like a religion. Spain can complete 800 passes and somehow still look hungry for another 800. Watching Spain pass the ball is like watching somebody endlessly scroll social media. A lot of movement, not always a lot of progress. Morocco eliminated them. Then came Portugal, and this wasn't just Portugal. This was Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo. The same Ronaldo who has spent 2 decades treating football records like shopping lists. Morocco beat them too, and suddenly the whole world was asking, wait a minute, are these guys actually going to win the World Cup? Now let's discuss the real star of that Morocco team. Not the attackers, not the midfielders, the defense. Goodness gracious, that defense. Morocco defended like they had received confidential information that conceding goals would increase taxes. Nobody got through, nobody. Attackers would enter the final third looking confident. 5 seconds later they'd be looking for directions back to midfield. Teams spent 90 minutes trying to score. Morocco spent 90 minutes saying, no, and somehow it worked. Again, and again, and again. Football analysts started drawing arrows, creating tactical diagrams, using fancy words, but honestly the strategy was simple. Morocco treated their penalty box like a mother protecting her favorite Tupperware container. Nobody was touching it. Here's where things become complicated. Because football history did not begin in 2022, and greatness isn't measured over a few weeks. It's measured across decades, which brings us to Egypt. Whenever somebody says Morocco are the greatest African team ever, Egypt quietly enters the room carrying 7 AFCON trophies. 7. At this point Egypt don't have a trophy cabinet. They have a storage problem. Winning 1 AFCON is difficult. Winning 2 is impressive. Winning 7 is the football equivalent of owning half the neighborhood. Nobody in Africa has matched that record. Nobody. Egypt dominated African football for generations. Especially during the era of players like Mohamed Aboutrika. They became the standard, the benchmark, the final exam. The problem? Their World Cup history doesn't hit the same level as Morocco's. And that's why this debate exists. Before Morocco shocked the world, there was Cameroon, the original football troublemakers. Back in 1990, Cameroon reached the World Cup quarterfinals. Today that sounds normal. Back then it sounded impossible. African teams weren't expected to do that. The football establishment looked at African teams the same way some people look at low-budget action movies. Probably entertaining, probably not winning. Cameroon changed everything. Led by the legendary Roger Milla, they shocked the planet. They beat world champions. They reached the last 8. And they made everybody pay attention. Cameroon walked so other African teams could run, including Morocco. Then we have Nigeria, the football factory. Some countries produce gold, some countries produce oil. Nigeria produces footballers. Every generation seems to create another star, another exciting squad, another team capable of causing problems. Nigeria have multiple AFCON titles, numerous World Cup appearances, Olympic gold, decades of relevance. They're like that student who never gets expelled from the top class. Maybe not always number 1, but always somewhere near the front. That's greatness too. Consistency matters. And then we have Ghana, the nation responsible for Africa's biggest football heartbreak. World Cup quarterfinal, 1 kick away from history. 1 kick away from becoming Africa's first semi-finalist. Then football happened. The penalty was missed. The dream was gone. And millions of African fans suddenly understood what emotional damage feels like. To this day, some people still remember exactly where they were watching that match. That's how powerful the moment was. If that penalty goes in, maybe this entire video is called, "Is Ghana Africa's greatest team ever?" History can be cruel. This is the real question. Because greatness depends on what you're measuring. If we're measuring AFCON dominance, Egypt wins. If we're measuring historical impact, Cameroon has a serious case. If we're measuring consistency, Nigeria enters the conversation. If we're measuring World Cup achievement, Morocco is number one. No debate, no discussion, no committee meeting required. No African team has ever gone further than Morocco at a World Cup. That's simply a fact. Here's why Morocco's argument is so powerful. They didn't just win football matches. They changed perceptions. Before 2022, people often spoke about African football with limitations. Maybe they'll reach the quarterfinal. Maybe they'll surprise somebody. Maybe. Morocco removed the maybe. They showed that an African nation could stand among the giants. Not as guests, not as underdogs, but as equals. That's bigger than a football result. That's legacy. So, is Morocco Africa's greatest football team ever? My answer is, they're Africa's greatest World Cup team ever. Nobody can take that away. Nobody has matched their semi-final achievement. But Africa's greatest team overall? That's still a fight, because Egypt's trophy collection is ridiculous. Cameroon's impact is historic. Nigeria's consistency is unmatched. Morocco are sitting at the table. They're absolutely in the conversation. But if they want the crown beyond all doubt, they need more. More AFCON success. More World Cup magic. More years at the top. Because becoming great is difficult. Staying great is what creates legends. And that's why the debate remains open. Now tell me in the comments. Is Morocco Africa's greatest football team ever? Or are we all prisoners of World Cup recency bias?